Welcome to this video. We're just going to be further looking at some more of the flat earth, but first I want to go over one of the major reasons why I believe that the flat earth theory has become very prevalent over the past couple of years. And as we've gone over some verses from the Quran, we can see that the Quran actually speaks about Jesus' death, or God. In Surah 455 speaks about Jesus' death and him being brought up to be with God, and for God himself to contend against those who contended against Jesus Christ, and the fact that he died. And those who are contending against Jesus' death are the Muslims themselves, because later on the Quran was changed. As the Muslims talk about the Bible being changed, they don't realize that their own Quran has actually been changed multiple times, and maximum we've got about 70% of it just now. If any of the Bible has been changed, it's because of the Nestle's text and the other texts that have actually been rejected by the early church, but they're more prevalent today in Christianity. So you have to go to the Textus Receptus if you want 100% truth. And so we're just going to look at this video, and it should amaze some people.
In what we can only conclude is one of the most bizarre reports ever circulated in the Kremlin, the Ministry of Defense, MOD, is reporting today that the global leader of the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill of Moscow, arrived in Antarctica earlier today, where he joined up with the vast Federation naval armada transporting from Saudi Arabia the mysterious Ark of Gabriel, entrusted to Russia's care by the custodian of the two holy mosques, and performed an ancient ritual over it. Read from a secret text given to him by Pope Francis just days prior in Cuba, when these leaders of Christianity's two top sects met for the first time in nearly 1,000 years. According to this MOD report, and which we had previously reported on in our December 6, 2015 report, Russia begins transport of Saudi Arabia's mysterious Ark of Gabriel to Antarctica. The mysterious Ark of Gabriel was first discovered in Mecca on September 12, 2015 by a construction crew tunneling under the Masjid al-Haram Mosque, Grand Mosque, and who, when attempting to unearth it, were all killed by a massive plasma emission that killed a further 107. Even worse, this report continues. On September 24, 2015, during a second attempt to unearth the mysterious Ark of Gabriel, another massive plasma emission killed an estimated 4,000 more people, but which Saudi officials blamed on a stampede. Quoting from the original MOD report as to what Saudi officials did next, we can read: after the catastrophic death toll involved with the Saudis' second attempt to remove this mysterious device/weapon, His Holiness Patriarch Kirill was then contacted by the Grand Mosque emissaries in regards to one of the oldest Islamic manuscripts possessed by the Russian Orthodox Church that was saved from the Roman Catholic Crusaders in 1204, when they sacked the Church of Holy Wisdom, now known as Hagia Sophia, in Constantinople, present-day Istanbul, Turkey, titled Gabriel's Instructions to Muhammad. Important to note, and virtually unknown in the West, were that the Roman Catholic Crusades, and like they mirror today, were not only against the peoples of Islamic faith, but also against those having Russian Orthodox faith too. And why? During these crusades, the Russian Orthodox Church not only protected their own religious libraries from being destroyed, but also those belonging to Muslims. As to the contents of this ancient Islamic manuscript, Gabriel's Instructions to Muhammad, it centers around a group of instructions given to Muhammad by the angel Gabriel in a cave called Hira, located on the mountain called Jabal an-Nur, near Mecca, wherein this heavenly being entrusted into Muhammad's care a box/ark of immense power he was forbidden to use, as it belonged to God only and was, instead, to be buried in a shrine at the place of worship the angels used before the creation of man until its future uncovering in the days of Yom al-Qiyamah, or Qiyamah, which means literally Day of the Resurrection. On December 6, 2015, this report notes, Federation naval research vessel Admiral Vladimirsky departed the Saudi Arabian port of Jeddah with the Ark of Gabriel bound for Antarctica, accompanied by a vast naval armada ordered for its protection by President Putin, and that.
Okay, it was interesting. I was just going to comment about Resurrection Day, because this is what the Muslims contend, of course, about Jesus' death and resurrection. So I think it's definitely a lot of truth in this.
Strangely, also included capsules with Russian soil to be placed in the areas of military glory and burial sites of Russian sailors at selected ports of call along the long journey to the Southern Ocean. Upon his learning of the grave and global implications associated with this mysterious Ark of Gabriel, this report continues. Pope Francis contacted Patriarch Kirill requesting an urgent and immediate meeting while warning that the end is near, after which Patriarch Kirill agreed to meet the Roman Catholic Church leader in Cuba on February 12, an historic meeting between these two leaders that had not taken place between these churches' leaders in nearly 1,000 years. Though the exact nature of the talks between Patriarch Kirill and Pope Francis remain classified at much higher level than we're granted access to, analysts in this report do state that an ancient secret manuscript was given to Patriarch Kirill by Pope Francis that pertains to the Ark of Gabriel, whose legend behind it claims it was written directly by the Watchers, angels, described in the Book of Enoch. And just hours ago, this report concludes, Patriarch Kirill, while using this secret text given to him by Pope Francis, performed an ancient ritual over the Ark of Gabriel in the Russian Orthodox Holy Trinity Church, the only church in Antarctica, and where immediately thereafter this mysterious artifact was transported into the vast interior of this cold and foreboding continent by a highly specialized Spetsnaz, Special Forces, unit to a destination, and purpose, not identified by the mod.
Okay, so yeah, it's explaining, I believe, what's besides the inner Earth, and besides Admiral Byrd speaking of a continent beyond Antarctica. That's the words that he used. And so either we've got an inner Earth, we've got a hollow Earth, we've got an inner Earth where you've got temperatures rising up until about the 60s or the mid 70s, as Admiral Byrd actually experienced. And the last video I posted was from a Latter-day Saint who died, who didn't actually make the journey to the North Pole to get to the other entrance of the hollow Earth. But what he said was that yes, there was conditions there which could easily support life, and it gradually curves right into the Earth. There's a hole at both of the poles, and the temperature increases. So very interesting. And then you've got this into the mix. Obviously we don't really know if this mysterious Ark of Gabriel was at all with the Russian forces. I mean, I could speculate that if it killed all these Muslims, then why is it now in Christian hands? Is it only because and I wouldn't even say that the Pope is a Christian, but certainly we know that Russia is standing up for biblical issues, and maybe at this moment God is favouring Russia because they've rejected the gay marriage laws and different other things. So it's possible that God allowed the Russians to take this ark somewhere. It's possible.
The book of the courses of the heaven, the relations of each, according to their classes, their dominion, and their seasons.
And so it's said that the Pope gave the Russian Orthodox leader a manuscript that was related to or from the Book of Enoch, but at the moment we have the Oxford Press edition of the Book of Enoch, which was discovered by a Scotsman about just after they had the King James Bible, but it's in the King James Bible Apocrypha now, the Book of Enoch, and I do hold some credence to it. If I'm telling you that there's some things in the Quran that speak about Jesus that could be perceived as being true because they don't contradict what we have in the Bible, then there's truths in this book as well. So you can't just discount these ancient books. It's probably the most ancient piece of manuscript scripture in the world, the Book of Enoch.
According to their names and places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the holy angel, who is with me, who is their guide, showed me. And he showed me all their laws exactly as they are, and how it is with regard to all the years of the world, and unto eternity, till the new creation is accomplished, which dureth till eternity. And this is the first law of the luminaries. The luminary, the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals of the heaven, and its setting in the western portals of the heaven.
Now, this is good. I mean, this is fine. But what seems to happen is that they have a rotating ceiling of stars, and where even the sun and the moon are spun around the earth like a wheel. And for me, as you can see here, if the sun is rising in the east, which I'm not even sure on this map that if it is the east, I mean, if this is Africa and Russia, the east would be over here, it wouldn't be up there, that's the north, you see. So this isn't accurate. And there's so many misaccuracies, that are in a lot of these models about the flat earth, and this is why either it's done deliberately so you can't get your head around the theory, or the flat earth is just a complete lie and it's a diversion to stop people saying that there is a South Pole. Okay, it's just come out the past couple of years when all these events have been happening, and they don't want people to believe there is a South Pole. They want you to believe that there's a wall of ice around here that you can't get past, which is not in the Bible. And Admiral Byrd and many other people, government officials, especially, the Germans, the Nazis had bases there before the Second World War. And yes, so this is the east. So in this model, they've got the sun coming up here. But the thing is that there's a wheel here and it spins round and then sets. So in the sky, this doesn't happen. You can't observe the sun rising and then hitting a wheel and then spinning round this direction and then till it gets to here and then just setting there. That's not what happens. And I would speculate that if the flat earth model is correct, what you would have here is a roulette type wheel of the flat earth, where you've got the sun and moon, just like the silver ball that's used in the roulette wheel, and it's the earth itself that spins round. I hear all the flat earthers say, well, how can the round earth be going round the sun at 60,000 miles an hour, and how can it be spinning round at several thousand miles an hour? Well, I think the only concept that would work here is if it was a flat earth and it actually spun round as well, and this would give the effect that the stars are moving. I think the stars are, well, let's just further see what this video has to say.
And I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun sets, and the moon rises and sets in these portals, and the leaders of the stars and those whom they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west,
Is it spinning wheel?
and all following each other in accurately corresponding order. Also many windows to the right and left of these portals. And first there goes...
So you've got the dome here, and then you've also got a spinning dome, a spinning wheel dome. I mean, they say that this is simple. This is simpler than the round earth, but to me this is absolutely very, very, very complicated indeed way to look at things. I'm not saying, again, no one can see with absolute certainty what shape the earth is and all of that, but this is not as simple as the spherical earth in the model we have just now. It's just not as simple as it's portrayed by the flat earthers.
Goes forth the great luminary named the sun, and his circumference is like the circumference of the heaven, and he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. The chariot on which he ascends the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east.
So what he's saying is that, again, when the sun rises here from the supposed east, and you've got this chariot here, which sort of catches the sun here. I suppose the sun's meant to sit in this little holder, this little platform here, and so that the chariot just carries the sun around it, and then it'll probably just empty it out down the west, and that's it setting again. What happens after that? Maybe it's like a pinball machine, and it just goes in here and then comes back up again like a pinball machine. That's the model that they're presenting to people.
East, and is so guided that he comes to the appropriate portal and shines in the face of the heaven. In this way he rises in the first month in the Greek portal, which is the fourth, those 6 portals in the east.
Again, I'm not knocking this. I believe all of this has validity, but it's how you interpret it. We are at the age of interpretation, I believe, because there's so much disinformation out there. So it's very important how we interpret everything. A lot of people's ears and hearts are hard and closed towards truth. And, this channel is about, yes, it's uncovering truth, and it's about discussing truth. And if people are man enough to do that, then or woman enough to do that, then fine. But a lot of you are just like scared little mice, and are basically what Jesus said. You're like sheep. If there's some channel or some video that's got a lot of hits, you'll thumbs it up and you'll say that's wonderful, that's great, and you'll go back to your life not even thinking about what you've just seen. So
And in that fourth portal from which the sun rises in the first month are 12 window openings, from which proceed a flame when they are opened in their season. When the sun rises in the heaven, he comes forth through that fourth portal 30 mornings in succession, and sets accurately in the fourth portal in the west of the heaven. And during this period, the day becomes longer, and the night nightly shorter to the 30th morning. On that day, the sun is longer than the night by a 9th part, and the day amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. And the sun rises from that fourth portal, and the day becomes 12 parts, and the night is shortened and becomes 6 parts, and the sun mounts up to make the day shorter and the night longer. And the sun returns.
Okay, so they say that also the sun and the moon and so on can get nearer the earth and can get more far away from the earth, and we can observe that, of course, in the spherical earth model. But again, they don't tell you how this dome, which seems to be a set shape, can detract. It seems to be a set shape. I mean, if you've got one of these glass shakers, it's impossible to press the dome further towards the flat surface, or it's impossible to prise the dome away from the top of it, otherwise you'll break it. So this is a very complicated model. I mean, they're saying it's easier to understand. No, it's not easier to understand.
To the east and enters into the 6th portal, and rises from it and sets 30 mornings. And when 30 mornings are accomplished, the day decreases by exactly 1 part, and becomes 11 parts. And the sun goes forth from that 5th portal, and sets in the 5th portal of the west.
Alright, so they're saying there's different levels here. I see this. So instead of the equinoxes, they've got different levels going up and down, according to the season or the time of year. Which to me, again, you see, if this is the sun and it's going around in a circle like this, then at night time in the other side of the world you should be able to see the sun as a star. But this has never ever been observed in the history of man, ever. But that's the model that they're suggesting. It's still to be proven. That's what I'm saying to flat earthers. It's all very well, anybody can pull a model out of anywhere and say that this is God's model, but it's got to be scrutinized. It's got to be tried and tested, and at the moment it doesn't add up. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Rises in the 4th portal for 1 and 30 mornings, on account of its sign, and sets in the west. On that day the day is equalized with the night, and becomes of equal length, and the night amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts. And the sun rises from that portal, in his return as often as he returns 60 times and rises, the great luminary which is named the sun, forever
like
and
a
ever.
yin and yang.
and that which thus rises.
And this to me is like the roulette wheel. This to me, I would look more into this, that the flat Earth is spinning. I think that's a possibility, because it would make, I think it would make a smoother transition between the sun and the moon, and it wouldn't be changing directions as it is in this model. You know, you've got it rising up and then hitting this wheel at the top and then going round the arc of the top of the world, which no one has observed the sun, you know, rising up in one direction, going north, and then just suddenly taking off west somewhere or east. I mean, nobody's seen that, you know.
It's the great luminary, and is so named according to its appearance, according as the Lord commanded. As he rises, so he sets, and decreases not.
And again, all the flat Earth models seem to be two-dimensional, like we're little two-dimensional cardboard people down in the earth, and everything's two dimensions. We know we live in a three-dimensional world, you know, and physics explains that there's multiple different dimensions, fourth, fifth, sixth dimensions, and so on, which isn't explained in a flat Earth model. None of this is explained in their models because it doesn't cater for real physics. If you're a physician, I think that the flat Earth model is instantly just debunked, especially if you're into physics, and you can explain the different dimensions.
And rests not, but runs day and night, and his light is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon. But as regards size, they are both equal. And after this law, I saw another law dealing with the smaller luminary, which is named the moon. And her circumference is like the circumference of the heaven. And her chariot in which she rides is driven by the wind. And light is given to her in definite measure. And her rising and setting change every month. And her days are like the days of the sun. And when her light is uniform, it amounts to the seventh part of the light of the sun. And thus she rises. And her first phase in the east comes forth on the 30th morning. And on that day she becomes...
Okay, let's just play this part again. Something that I just picked up on there.
And after this law, I saw another law dealing with the smaller luminary, which is named the moon. And her circumference is like the circumference of the heaven. And her chariot in which she rides is driven by the wind. And light is given to her in depth.
And light is given to her. So again, flat earthers will say, well, you got to have the flat earth because, you know, it says in the Bible that the moon emits its own light, but it says here in the book of Enoch that light is given to her. That's why it's called the feminine, because it doesn't produce its own light. Okay, the masculine is the sun, just like you know, that you can't basically have life without the man, you know, type of thing. But so obviously in the present model, we have the light of the sun giving light to the moon in its different phases. That's the present understanding. But what a lot of flat earthers are saying is that the moon produces its own light, and it's, you know, but that's not what it said. Let me just play that again.
The moon, and her circumference is like the circumference of the heaven. The chariot in which she rides is driven by the wind, and light is given to her in definite measure.
Light is given to her in definite
and her rising and setting change every month, and her days are like the days of the sun.
You got the moon phases
and
here,
on that
which constitute, of course, the new moons and Sabbaths, which are spoken of right through
she becomes
Scripture.
visible, and constitutes for you the first phase of the moon, on the 30th day together with the sun, in the portal where the sun rises. And the one half of her goes forth by a seventh part, and her whole circumference is empty, without light, with the exception of 1/7 part of it, the 14th part of her light. And when she receives 1/7 part of the half of her light amounts to 1/7 part and the half thereof. And she sets with the sun, and when the sun rises, the moon rises with him, and receives the half of 1 part of light, and in that night, in the beginning of her morning, in the commencement of the lunar day.
Well, in this model anyway, they're saying the moon receives its light from the sun. So that's this is obviously a flat earther that's agreeing with the present conclusion, which is good.
The moon sets with the sun, and is invisible that night with the 14 parts and the half of one of them. And she rises on that day with exactly a seventh part, and comes forth and recedes from the rising of the sun. And in her remaining days she becomes bright in the remaining 13 parts. And I saw another course, a law for her, and how according to that law she performs her monthly revolution. And all these Uriel, the holy angel, who is the leader of them all, showed to me, and their positions. And I wrote down their positions as he showed them to me. And I wrote down their months as they were, and the appearance of their lights, till 15 days were accomplished.
Okay, so 15 days is when we have the full moon. Every single moon, usually there's 12 of them. On a leap year, there's sometimes 13, which is explained in this video. I'll leave a link to these videos, by the way, in the toolbar. But there's some lunar Sabbath keepers which keep the Sabbath on the 14th, but I keep on the 15th. As I did pray about it and asked the Lord that someone would teach me about it, and I did go to Carolina and meet this chap who knew quite a lot about it. So yeah, we have it on the 15th, and I guess the present solar lunar calendar that I've done will be coming to an end in a few months, but again, it's quite an easy thing to pick up. I think there's a lot of information about it just now, so hallelujah. If any of you in the UK want to start a lunar Sabbath group, by all means let me know, and we can do something.
Their laws and all their plagues and all their benefactions have I shown to thee, my son, Methuselah. And the first quarter is called the east, because it is the first, and the second the south, because the Most High will descend there, yea.
So that is kind of like a stroke wheel. Sorry, not a stroke wheel. It's like a roulette wheel there. I don't know what that's meant to be. Is it the North Star or something? I'm not sure, but the Earth is kind of like a roulette wheel in that model.
There, in quite a special sense, will he who is blessed forever descend. And the west quarter is named the diminished, because there are all the luminaries of the heaven wane and go down. Face of the heaven.
Okay, so again, flat earthers say, how can the Earth be round if it says in the Bible that the Earth is a face? Well, have you ever seen a flat face? I mean, your actual head is round, So don't be deceived by these sayings. Again, very well could still possibly be a flat Earth, but not according to these types of models. And again, the wisdom is just doesn't answer a lot of questions for me. Okay, so this is a model of the inner Earth here, saying that the Giza pyramid has entrances into the inner Earth, different places, Italy, different places. They might call them portals, or they're just tunnels that you can literally go down. And I believe there's even one at the Vatican as well, that goes several miles into the Earth. And so the Vatican itself might be sitting at one of these tunnels or entrances or portals to the inner Earth. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. And we know that this central sun could well itself be the lake of fire, which at the moment is empty because it's actually been created for Satan and the fallen angels, so they've not actually been cast into the lake of fire yet. But what we do have around these parts is hell, which is different cells, different places where when a person dies, their soul goes here if they've not repented, if they don't know Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ himself said that I'm going to the heart of the earth, just like Jonah was in the whale for 3 days and 3 nights, the Son of Man shall be in the heart of the earth. And so do I believe Jesus went to hell? I believe there was a part where the righteous souls went to, which was called Abraham's bosom. I think that he also gave the souls in hell a chance to repent and follow him to heaven, which a lot of them were so hateful and spiteful against God that they actually rejected that. So it takes quite a lot of hate towards God to actually reject an offer of eternal life. And to be with God, of course, it takes a lot of hate to do that. But this is why we must always forgive our enemies. We must always show forgiveness towards those who lie about us and who mistreat us. So that this Shambhala is what this inner earth is called. There's various cities meant to be within there. I do believe that there are probably a lot of Nephilim, large giant tribes in there. I don't think a lot of humans would survive in there. I think it's very hostile towards humans. You know, if there is such a thing as the reptilians, I'm quite certain that they're down there somewhere, probably around this area, you know, as you can see. But we'll look at a model of the flat earth so that you don't think I'm being biased. Then we'll look at their model of different worlds out there. And you can just briefly see Admiral Byrd's flight going into the entrance in the North Pole here, and then you've got a similar entrance here in the South Pole, which is probably connected with the pyramid that's there and different other things there. Here's an example of what flat earthers say when you go around here, and well, this should be closed off, but it's just an example. There's not many examples of it, to be honest with you. I mean, I think there's just so many problems with the flat earth theory that there's so many different models of the flat earth that you know, they haven't really come to a conclusion yet. This is one of them. The other one with the dome around the outside, so you won't be able to get out into other worlds, where, you know, there's maybe angels here, as people speculate, that live here, or this is heaven. And maybe the only way to get through is, one speculated, is through one of these pyramids. There might be a portal to get underneath the dome or something and then come out here into these other worlds. And so this is a sort of a model here, which none of them, to my mind, are remotely accurate. I mean, look, there's another one. Okay, it's quite a well-known one here. Just so many of them, to be honest with you. I mean, so yeah, you know, I've yet to see a correct model of the flat earth, but I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was enlightening for you, and may the Lord bless you.